So this is a short clip from a longer conversation that I had with Leslie Keith. She's the author of a book that was just released September 28th, 2021, called The Lymphatic Code. So hope you enjoy. And if you want to see the whole full conversation that we had about lymphedema and the keto diet and lipedema and many other things, there'll be a link at the end of this video. Enjoy. Okay, one other question that I've gotten from some of my participants and is a really common surgery is to remove the gallbladder.
Yes.
And some people know that the gallbladder has to do with digesting fat. So what about being on the ketogenic diet if you don't have a gallbladder, or if you have gallbladder or problems with a gallbladder?
Yes. And so it turns out that a low-fat diet is actually probably the main cause of getting gallstones. And the main reason you have your gallbladder out is because gallstones are so painful and it's hard to get rid of them. And so they just remove it. And so this gallbladder removal is probably the most common surgery, at least in the United States. I don't know, it might even be worldwide. But so now you need the bile to digest fats, and the gallbladder is what stores the bile, and it will, in response to you eating something that has fat in it, it will emit enough bile to help you digest and absorb that fat. And so now you don't have a reservoir for it. And so if you're going to eat a lot of fat, how are you going to be able to accommodate with that without a gallbladder, without some storage? Because what happens is that your liver is just going to dribble out constantly a little bit of bile. So you still will have bile present, but it may not be enough when you actually have a meal, and then you need to digest some fat. And so there are many people that without a gallbladder that use a ketogenic diet, and basically they need to start out slowly with adding fats to their diet. So you see what your tolerance is, and you will know that you've exceeded your tolerance if you get diarrhea. You simply will not be able to digest that fat, and you will have diarrhea. So then you'll have to back off. Now, many people, I would say by far a majority of people, are using this way of eating because they are overweight. They want to lose body fat. And so essentially you can use your own body fat as the fat portion of your diet. You don't have to eat a lot of fat when you first start eating this way, if you have some body fat to lose. Now, if you don't have body fat to lose and you want to eat this way, my recommendation is to start slowly and gradually increase your fat intake as you're able to tolerate it. And then there are supplements like ox bile supplements. You can get a health food store that can help you when you're eat something that has some particularly delicious fat in the meal, and if you're worried that it might exceed your tolerance, you could take that supplement. Of course, you're doing all this with the guidance of your healthcare provider.
Yeah. So do you take that ox bile with the meal? So
yes.
It's right then, it will help it. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And you did point out something that I think can be a misconception about the ketogenic diet. We often think of it as a high fat first, but it's I'm understanding, and also from the book, that and that it's more the emphasis should be low carb.
Right.
So what you're saying, if somebody if I'm understanding you right, if somebody has a gallbladder or problem or don't have a gallbladder, they can begin by cutting carbohydrates, but they don't have to focus so much on adding fat.
Right.
So then a question: what if they cut their carbohydrates all the way down to 20 grams, which is kind of where we start, and then we usually say eat till you're full. You don't have to go hungry, and they don't have a gallbladder, so they have to limit their fat a little bit so that they don't get stomach problems. Sorry about that. Then what should they eat instead? Should it be protein, or if they're still hungry because they're not eating all the carbs they're used to?
So of course the best macronutrient for satiation is fat, but protein can also increase your satiation. So, and typically, because we've been focused on a plant-based diet for so many years, a lot of people are not eating enough protein. And so by increasing your protein level and maybe increasing your fat a little bit, but not going overboard on the fat until you can tolerate it, I think you will still be able to get satiated in actually a pretty small meal, probably smaller than you're used to eating. Carbohydrates are not filling. They, if they have a lot of fiber in them, they can add bulk and will be temporarily filling. But if you're also eating a lot of high carb, high starch plants, potatoes and rice and pasta and bread and stuff like that, that high starch stuff is going to actually cause your blood sugar swings that are going to make you feel hungry very rapidly after a meal. And so you don't feel satiated for a very long time. So if you have that gallbladder issue, even if you do have a gallbladder, but you have a history of gallstones, eating a lot of fat can mobilize that bile and may push a stone into your, in that bile duct. And that's where we get the pain, is it gets stuck in that little tube that takes it to the intestines. So you may want to not do a whole bunch of fat to start out with until you get rid of those gallstones. So I would say you're going to increase your protein, and it's not going to be bad to eat more protein. We need that for healthy, dense bones, as well as muscles, for making enzymes, hormones, all kinds of body functions. You need that protein. So I would not be worried about increasing your protein at all.